Multifamily Mindset
Podcast. Think bigger.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Multifamily Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Brown, and I'm excited to have you here. So whether you're a longtime listener or new to the show, we're thrilled that you've joined our growing community. Every Tuesday, we bring you interviews with MFM students, sharing their journeys and lessons learned. On Thursdays, our mindset expert, Dallas Pruitt, unpacks key principles that drive success. And don't miss Wednesdays when Tyler Devereux hosts his own Own the Outcome podcast, featuring high-level guests and their paths to success. So thanks for tuning in. But first off, let's dive right in. So today we're going to be interviewing Brad and Julian Klein. Welcome to the podcast, guys. This is the first time on here, right? So just tell us a little bit about yourselves, your backgrounds, and what really brought you guys into multifamily investing.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be on here with you. And it's also a joy to be in business. My name is Brad Klein, and it's a real pleasure to be in business with my son, Julian, and to be able to be on this journey together.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Julian Klein. Kingdom Realty Partners. Super honored to be here with you, Kyle, today, and to share a little bit about our journey.
Yeah. Super excited to have you guys on. I mean, that father-son combo is extremely powerful, and just family in general, right? So you said Kingdom Realty Partners, and it's been, 21 months you guys had put down, right?
That sounds about right. Yeah, about just short of 2 years.
Perfect. Yeah. So just short of 2 years, and you've totaled 308 units. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yep.
Now I said 308 units, and I got goosebumps. Like, that is an absolutely incredible pace. So my first question, I think everybody will probably have the same question too, is how did you do so much in such a short time?
Well, I think obviously MFM was the one that really launched us to be able to accomplish a feat like that. It was really taking those lessons that we were learning and putting it into practice. Like, you have to execute, you have to perform and do it, right? You can't just keep it in your head. You got to put it to work, and the systems work. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking action is a big part. And we talk about the relationships over and over and over. I mean, we all know this is a relationship business, but a couple of key introductions, or we're like one key relationship away from breaking into deals sometimes. And so that was part of our story.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I mean, we do talk all the time. It is a relationship business, right? First and foremost. And I think a lot of people really get, a little setback just thinking about, hey, I got to talk to other people. I got to put myself out there, right? So obviously you have to have a very strong motivation in order to do that and continue cultivating these relationships. I'm sure it didn't happen on the first conversation that it was just, hey, you saw key business partnerships right then and there, right? So I'm sure you guys have your own unique motivations. Brad, I think you mentioned, before that, building wealth and supporting, the kingdom of God, right? That's what you had written down. And Julian, you wanted to achieve job optional status and do the exact same as your father, right?
Yeah.
With these motivational factors and goals, like, how do they drive your approach to investing and partnerships, right? Because again, you said it's a relationship building business, and that's where we see a lot of people end up taking a step back because they're scared to put themselves out there. But how did you use those to approach your investing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our faith informs everything we do. And so even the name of our business, Kingdom Realty Partners, we obviously are Christians and believers, and want to put some opportunities in front of people that maybe don't have the same opportunities. So I've been around the world for 35 years, all over Europe, into the Far East, across the Middle East. We have engagements and things. And so because of that, our eyes were really opened to some needs around the world that we've been able to pour into. And so that kind of motivates me. When you step out of your comfort zone, you get out of your hometown or out of your state or out of your country, it really does open your eyes to the world. And it allows us to really see how blessed we really are here in the US, and just all the things we have to be grateful for. So we want to help others in a big way. And so that motivates us too. to succeed and to create wealth beyond our own needs and to be able to give away a lot of money to others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Did you guys know anybody in this business before jumping into this program?
No, we didn't. Actually, it was like many. I saw a Facebook ad. I shot it over to Julian and said, "Tell me what you think." And he was like, "I'm ready. It's time. Let's go. Would you go to this workshop with me?" And we went to
That was the one day, right?
yeah. And then what happened?
Yeah. So after that one day, we kind of looked at each other. He said, "You know, do we think that we could do this?" I remember after that one day that we were invited to the 3-day kind of workshop, and we knew that we could get, you know, reimbursed as well if we closed on a deal within the first 6 months or so. And we were like, yeah, we can definitely do that. So yeah, I went to the 3-day event, and that was awesome with who
That
was
was Jim
leading that? Was
Anderson.
that Jim?
Yeah.
Jim Anderson. Shout out to him. Yeah, incredible. And they challenged us, you know, with some activations as well. We learned about, you know, some of the different roles of the deal team and raising capital. They challenged us over lunch to just call some people up and see if you can raise 25,000 or so and see what happens. So what happened after that, Dad?
We came back for lunch with 50,000 in soft commitments. And so I had called a couple of people who didn't pick up the phone. I mean, it's lunchtime. I think it might have been a Saturday. I don't recall which day of the week, but what happened was Peak Partnership followed 2 weeks, just 2 weeks after our 3-day. So we were all in after the 3-day. And in those 2 weeks until Peak Partnership, people that I had called during the workshop started returning my calls and calling back and saying, "What's up?" And so by the time we got to Peak Partnership, we had $500,000 in soft commitments. And that was something that was really a catalyst for getting into our first deal, and where it opened up a completely different set of conversations. But all we did was put into practice what we were taught. And the first person we spoke with at Peak Partnership is a name that most in the network would know. That was Todd Miller. And we had no clue who he was and had no idea of his role in the organization. He was just wearing a name tag that said team member.
Yeah.
And so as we were talking, he said, "How do you guys think you're going to do?" And we said, "Well, we think we'll do pretty well. We've got $500,000 in soft commitments." And he said, "What? How did you do that?"
Remember, we were 2 weeks in at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we just did what you told us to do. We picked up the phone and called people. We talked to people. We just started, putting it out there. And so that led from one relationship to the next, from one introduction to the next, and began to have conversations with people. And just that really got the ball rolling. But yeah.
Wow. So, and I mean, I don't want to restate this, but you guys just breezed over it. You said you went to the 3-day workshop and then you just practiced with a couple soft commits, went from 50,000 to 500,000 in just 2 weeks.
Sure. Yeah.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Like, have you ever done that, right? Was it cold calls? Was it people that you haven't spoken to in a while? Or is it people that you've already had relationships with and you've recently been speaking to them? Like, what do those relationships look like?
Yeah, it was the latter. I mean, it was people at first, it was people that we knew and have relationships with. Just, yeah, in our own circle of friends, family, our own sphere of influence, people that we're close with. It'll, not be surprised if we pick up the phone and call them, and that will also easily return our calls, right?
Hey, listeners, thank you for tuning in to the MFM podcast. We truly appreciate your support and hope you're enjoying the insights from our incredible guests. We have one small favor to ask. Please leave us a review and rating. Your feedback means the world to us. And to show you our appreciation, we're giving away some great prizes to some lucky listeners who leave us a review. So scroll down, share your thoughts, and help us continue to bring valuable content. Thanks, and back to the show.
Let me ask you then, for each of you guys, really. Now, when you were making those phone calls, how did you feel making a phone call, knowing that you didn't have a property that you were particularly raising on at that time?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it was just kind of taking that step, to just put to practice again what we had been taught. We knew I guess, the range of what the returns could look like, with double-digit returns and things like that. It was fresh in our minds, learning about the ways that you can mitigate risk and the tax benefits and all these things that just speak towards or speak for the advantages of multifamily real estate. And I think that empowered us to just go for it, start getting those soft commitments, even though we didn't have a live deal on hand yet. We knew, with the power of the network, I'm sure there's deals floating around everywhere. And if we can just get capital and add value in that way, that's going to accelerate, our opportunities to put a live deal in front of, the people that we're talking to about these opportunities. So.
And I would add to that, Julian was the one that recognized very early on. It was actually at peak partnership, I think on day one. He was looking around at so many people. He said, Dad, every one of these deals needs capital. Private equity is a huge part of each one of these deals. And we started talking about our roles. We still hadn't figured out really our roles, if it was going to be part of acquisitions team or underwriting, or we were pretty certain it was not going to be asset management. But yeah, capital raising just came natural.
Yeah.
And I'll also add that maybe I had a little bit of a head start in that realm because my wife and I have led a nonprofit organization for the past 10 years. And so it's not completely new to me to ask people for money. And really, we're not asking them for money. We're presenting an opportunity for them to partner. We're presenting an opportunity for them to put their money to work. And it's astonishing how quickly people will open up and begin to talk about something as personal as their own net worth and where they're invested and what their goals are. And really, if you can focus on the investor relations side, if you can focus on the investor's goals, find out what it is they want, and then present ways to help them get what they want, it's really not that difficult. So yeah, that's my advice there.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. And I think it's a conversation that more people need to have. It is about your investors and their goals, right? Because these are people that they're your friends and family. And I'm sure that you want the absolute best for them. And you don't want their money just to go to waste somewhere. Maybe it's an investment that just isn't going to be working out. You want to do some research and some due diligence for your own to make sure you're putting their money in the right place. So, we talk about this all the time, but people invest in you and then they invest in the deal, right? They know who you guys are, and building that rapport early definitely helps. So do you guys think that, and honestly speaking, do you think that your confidence would still be as high to close out on some more deals had you not gotten those $500,000 in soft commits by the time of peak?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. We wouldn't have had the confidence that we had going into peak partnership after 2 weeks, probably. But I think, yeah, drive, knowing your why, being tenacious, just, having a attitude of being a learner and not quitting and not giving up and putting things into action, like all those things just are, part of the formula for getting into deals. So yeah, I would like to think we'd still have confidence had we not had 500,000 going into our first peak partnership, but yeah, perhaps not. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a huge confidence booster, knowing that, again, the lessons that we're learning as we're implementing those things, that there's traction there, that things are happening. Even if it hadn't been as much as 500,000, I think just the fact that there was some money raised, was enough of a boost, at least for me, as a young man, not having ran or led a nonprofit organization for the past 10 years, not having all those life experiences. That was a huge boost for me in confidence, I'd say. Yeah, for sure. To know that we could do it. And yeah, again, so grateful to be linked, arm in arm with my dad. He's a superstar for sure. Yeah, so it's been a real fun journey so far.
Yeah, we're having fun with it.
100%, right? It's just about having fun with it and continuing to go through and push on every single day. And then you guys had mentioned earlier, MFM on the educational side, right? And of course, the curriculum that we make, the calls that we have, fantastic. But as far as the community itself within MFM, have they been able to help you through any challenges or just growth opportunities in your journey so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's a relationship business, and figuring out where you fit in a deal team, and just having those conversations with people um, who might partner with you on a deal, but also with potential sponsors. And I would encourage people also to have maybe multiple sponsors or potential sponsors that they are in conversations with, and just getting to know one another. It's super important to know and understand who you're in business with. And so yeah, the network, absolutely. I mean, the private Facebook group is really invaluable for just even if you don't have your own question, just to get on there and scour through and scroll for a couple of minutes each day and see the questions that other people have, and the quality of the answers that are coming from people with a couple of more years experience as them perhaps. And so it's learning sometimes the answers to the questions you didn't even know to ask. You're still gaining knowledge and gleaning from the network. So that's been awesome.
Yeah, 1000%. You don't know what you don't know, right? So,
Yeah.
it's this, there is so much emphasis on mindset and just being able to continue to push through, especially within this program here. Just if you guys could, and this is going to be a challenging one for sure, but I love asking it every single time that I have the opportunity with students. But if you had to, within just a few words, mindset, what does that mean to you? What does somebody's mindset need to be coming into this program? In just a few words, what do you guys think?
So if I can jump in there, I would just say, first of all, adopt the attitude of a learner. You're a student first and foremost. So there's a lot of value in the network being able to ask questions, and just this is the opportune time to ask questions. We're not expected to have all the answers. We're students, so ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dad already mentioned about the tenacity. You don't always feel like getting up and doing the things that you need to do on top of your 9 to 5, or whatever occupation you're in currently, but you're building something for your future that's going to set you free, right? And so the tenacity, the mindset, to just persevere, discipline, like to do what needs to be done, even if you don't feel like it. And you'll see that compound, day after day, as you keep taking those hits and throwing those punches, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, Brad, I'll mention you first. So you had said essentially being teachable, right? As the mindset, you're a student first and foremost. How did that help you succeed? Did you have that same mindset coming into this program?
Yeah, I want to say I actually did have that mindset. So I left the United States at age 21 and went to Germany, not knowing the language. And I had a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I wanted to keep studying. I had an opportunity to go to Germany and check out some things that were happening at the University of Heidelberg. And I ended up, studying there and getting a master's degree in clinical psychology and counseling from, in a foreign language. So that experience at age 21, the first time I really stepped out and away from everything I knew, really helped shape my attitude as, okay, you're not a know-it-all. You need to, sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut and your ears open, and to your eyes open, and to observe, and then to ask questions. And so adopting a mindset as a learner is super important, especially when we're surrounded by, in this network, coaches and people who have answers to things where, they've walked a path we've not yet walked. So I'd say, yeah, coming into this, I did sort of have that mindset, like I'm going to learn everything I can.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And as Julian, you had mentioned tenacity, right? Just being able to keep it going. And I think one obvious mention is that you mentioned this earlier, to where you didn't work in the nonprofit for 10 years, right? You didn't have as much of that experience. Something we had talked about is imposter syndrome, as you're going through the path. Now, how did you feel coming into this program? Did you feel that you had any sense of imposter syndrome, or did you feel like, hey, I'm just getting right into it?
Yeah, for me, that was definitely a battle that I had, starting out. Again, as I mentioned before, I was so grateful that I get to link arms with my dad, and run this race together with him. But for myself, like, yeah, that realization, I guess, too, that we all are all students, like Dad had mentioned, that helped a lot in, at least for me, to realize, like, even the people that have been part of the network for a long time, even the coaches, they're still learning, right? And yeah, that helped a lot, knowing, it's okay to not know it all, and you're not, just because you don't know it, all the things that you feel like you should, doesn't mean that you can already adopt that identity, or the yeah, seeing yourself as an operator in this business, right? So
If I could
Yeah.
just add to that, I would also say there's some imposter syndrome for me as well, coming into a brand new industry to me at the time, but being able to lean on the expertise of the network, and being all in and saying, being able to lean on the experience and the expertise and the accomplishments of those that have gone before us, to borrow some of their credibility,
right.
if I can put it that way. That helps overcome the imposter syndrome too. Like, these are the people we're learning with. These are the people that have, achieved XYZ. $400 million portfolio isn't chump change, is it? I mean, that's a heck of an accomplishment. And so being able to speak about those things also, yeah, lends credibility to ourselves, and helps overcome some of that imposter syndrome.
Big time.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic and well said. Now, you had mentioned other people's assets, over $400 million in assets that some people have, right? Um, you guys are obviously building a legacy here. You're building an entire investment portfolio, and you're moving pretty quickly. But do you guys have a clear idea as what kind of legacy you want to leave using your investments?
You want to go first?
You go for it.
Okay, yeah. So I do have a clear idea. Yeah, right now those 308 units are spread over 3 deals, and we're just shy of 25 million in assets under management. So as we build out our schedule of real estate, our goal is within the next few years to become sponsors ourselves. That's really the goal. And as we become sponsors, then to sponsor other people's deals and be active in this space. We have goals that for our own personal needs or wants, let's say, in terms of building wealth. A goal of mine is to leave an inheritance to my children's children. And the bigger goal for me is to just be able to give away a lot of money as I see fit, as I see needs here in the US and around the world.
Yeah, for me, similarly, right? Also, just to be job optional within my 30s. Like, I'm 25 right now, so within the next 10 years, I'd love to be, job optional, put in a position where, yeah, I can go and travel and go back onto the mission field. That's what I did right out of high school, and I saw so many needs all around the world. Realized what a powerful tool, money can be, to help a lot of people, and really see communities transformed. Yeah, so within the next 10 years, I'd love to be put in a position where, you don't have to be tied down by a 9 to 5, but I can go out and, have to worry about, where the money's coming from, and just, yeah, go and be a blessing to others. Right. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, amazing. So I guess I just made the connection there, is that, okay, you guys are building wealth for supporting like the kingdom of God, right? Like that's what that Kingdom Realty Partners is coming from. Am I right on that? Right.
Absolutely. 100%. Yep.
So, I mean, you see that there's so many people that need help, and that you're wanting to help. You look like you're ready to give away your time and your money to help anyone and everyone that you can. So how does knowing that is the legacy you want to build out, how does that influence like your day-to-day decisions or your like longer term strategies as to like, hey, how are we going to build out this multifamily business? Like, have you ever been in a situation to where like your day-to-day has to change in order to accommodate, hey, building for the future, and then vice versa, your long-term strategy has to adjust for the now?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, we've been in that position. I have personally. It's interesting the approach. So um, we've been able to accomplish things, I think, beyond our own abilities. And I often say, I joke with Julian, I say it's not even fair because a lot of things we do are undergirded in prayer. And I just believe, I have faith. I just believe, man, that like God's for us and he's going to help us advance his kingdom. And it's like, yeah, it's almost as though it's not even fair. It's like being in an unfair fight because we just enjoy his favor and his blessing on our lives. And he makes things happen that we couldn't make happen on our own.
Yeah.
That's the way I like to look at it and explain it.
Definitely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know it was a definitely a deep and tough question to answer in just like just a few sentences, right? But um, again, it's really just the keying on the passion that I can feel from just this call, right? Like this is just meeting you guys for the first time, and I feel just how passionate you guys are about it, and just the drive that you have, the tenacity that you're willing to go through, right? And just make sure you're getting this done. It's absolutely fantastic. Julian, did you have anything that you wanted to add on that? Or he hit the nail on the head on that.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Great answer.
I would also add, as you just spoke about tenacity again, or drive or determination, when we got started, this was not something we were going to try. Let's see what happens. Let's just try it. That wasn't even in the equation. It's like, we're doing this. Right. So I think from a mindset standpoint, that's a whole nother way of entering into a new space with the mindset of this is going to happen. We're going to make it. We're doing this. We're not trying it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just wanted to mention that because I think it's important to distinguish among, well, let's see what happens. We'll just try it. That's
Yeah.
not part of the game plan.
Right.
Absolutely. I have a poster in my room. Every morning I get up, it's Yodaism. So do or do not. There is no try, right?
Yes.
It's absolutely fantastic. I live to that every single day, and I agree. So, I mean, one thing you just mentioned there is that, as soon as you got into this, you're just saying, this is what I'm doing, right? But considering like your journey so far in real estate investing, there are going to be students, of course, who come in and they're unsure or they're overwhelmed about just taking their first step, right? Because obviously you can get into an educational program, but it's not automatic that it's just going to bring you ultimate success within the next couple of weeks. Not everybody will be able to raise $500,000 in 2 weeks, but it's just about doing. So do you guys have any advice that you could, give to anybody that's overwhelmed or unsure about taking their first step into this multifamily business?
Yeah, I would say it is overwhelming, with the amount of even the content that MFM provides, as far as education. There's just so much, and realistically, there's only so much that you can absorb within a given time. So I would say, focus on the one thing, right? And then doing that one thing. So if you have an inkling that, maybe I could raise capital, or maybe I could do some asset management, or see myself doing some underwriting, or if there's just like a little nudge, in one direction, I would say just go full force into that thing. That'll allow you then to, build competency, build confidence in that area. And that is what allows you to then also add value to other deal teams, right? Again, we'll say it again, it's a relationship business, right? You're not going to take down these deals on your own. So yeah, don't get overwhelmed, but focus on that one thing, that one area, become really good at it, and then continue to reach out in the network, see what other teams that you can benefit and add value to. And, it comes back to yourself as well, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I would add to that. It is a team sport. We all know that. And so be the kind of player that other people want on their team. Right. And so the overwhelming part is only if you think you need to be an expert in everything. But the reality is, we don't. You want to have a broad general idea of how this industry works, for sure. And we never stop learning. We're always learning. But my advice would be find your lane and stay in your lane and get really good at what it is how you're adding value to a deal team. And along the way, you're going to learn those other areas just by being a part of that team. We've learned so much already about things like asset management by being part of a team, by being on a deal and seeing the challenges that come up. How do you overcome those challenges? Being on the weekly calls and so forth. That's just invaluable to actually learning by doing, right?
Hands-on.
But to overcome what seems to be overwhelming, just like Julian said, the one thing: pick your lane, stay in your lane, get good at what it is that you've found to do in this industry.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, and that's what we try to preach as well, right? It's just there is so much to learn. You know, we use the elephant analogy, right? And I'm sure you guys remember that. Just one bite at a time. You don't eat the whole elephant at once, right?
That's it.
It's important to continue to remember that. Hey, there's only so much information you can absorb at a time, just as Julian said. So, you know, another thing that we also like to mention too is just remembering to think bigger, right? And I would love to hear from you guys, like, what does that mean to you? So, in your life, in your business, like, what does it mean to think bigger?
I'll go first. For me, I would say it's definitely in terms of my own idea of my own net worth. So I was an employee for many, many years in different industries, and I was making six figures in corporate, my goodness, 25 years ago or more. Like, there was money. That wasn't a challenge, but the challenge was I was always being told by somebody else how much I was worth. So there was a ceiling you can't break through, and it doesn't matter. So you can end up being kind of caught up in a system where you're kind of broke at a higher level because you're making more money, but you're spending more money in a bigger house and a more expensive car and these types of things that I didn't have the financial acumen that I have now. I didn't have the knowledge that I have now in terms of stewarding money well. And so I never really imagined that I could be the multimillionaire that I know that I will be 5, 8, 10 years from now. Because this just is a completely different way of looking at creating wealth. And so that has changed for me a lot on the financial side, thinking bigger just in terms of, wow, not only is this possible, like this is already become, we see the steps where one in front of the other, one deal after the next, and then into sponsorship, and then in growing into helping other people to do what it is we're doing. Like the system is laid out for us. And so we just need to implement it, put it into practice. So thinking bigger for me is knowing that I'm going to achieve that goal of leaving an inheritance to my children's children and helping a lot of other people along the way.
Yeah. For me, I'd say thinking bigger. Yeah. You know, the past several years, I've helped a lot of my personal friends actually scale and grow some of their businesses. I've been an employee as well, but never saw myself as like that guy, like to be the business owner, to do it like for yourself. And so, yeah, that was a total paradigm shift, really, to think bigger. Like, no, you can be the one, you know, and that has a lot to do with the way, you know, you perceive yourself. It's more comfortable knowing there's somebody in a leadership position above you that gets to make the final decisions, and you get to just defer to them. But being that the top guy, to, you know, there's nobody giving you the tasks of what to do. But now, you know, it's on you to just do it. And you know, there's others that come alongside that get to help propel you in your business as well. But thinking bigger, knowing, you know, seeing myself as a business owner, and yeah, building legacy and wealth, you know, for myself. So yeah.
Yeah, extremely well said. And you know, now I do want to ask you another thing, Julian. Is you had said like, hey, nobody over the top of you. It's all on you and the people that you have, like those relationships that you're building with.
Yeah.
Is that how you think you define success to yourself? Like, what would be your definition of success so you can confidently go back and say, you know what, I've been successful in this industry?
That's a great question. Yeah. Obviously, I think at that point where I am in a place where I am job optional, where I'm able to replace my income, that will definitely be success, you know, to start. But then you never really accomplish or achieve that goal either. Like you can always keep developing. Like you never want to grow stagnant there either. But yeah, I think that would be kind of like the first major accomplishment or a major quote unquote success, right? Where I would see like, wow, this has grown into something that can now sustain myself, my family, and yeah, continue building from there for the greater goals. To see the nations transform, to be able to go out and give and support communities and cities and places. Yeah, to see the gospel go forth among the nations, and to be a part of that myself. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. What about you, Brad? Do you have a definition of success for yourself? Either personally and or professionally too.
I think, yeah, it's hard to define and quantify. Success to me is like knowing that I've realized my potential. And I think we limit ourselves more than there's always more in us. This is part of thinking bigger too, just believing, just that belief that there's more in me and there's more that I can do. There's more potential to be released, and I have the ability to do, I can do more than I think I can do. How's that? I learned that through sports many, many, many years ago. You can do more than you think you can. You can do one more push-up. You can run another 100 yards. You can do, there's more. There's more. So that comes with determination and drive as well.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure if I'm talking to Brad and Julian or if I'm talking to David Goggins. Oh man, you guys you got me. Yeah. So, lastly, and we'll leave off on this. Do you guys have any advice, maybe the best advice that you think you can offer to new multifamily investors or even new students, right? Because these investors don't necessarily have to be in the MFM space.
Stay plugged in and don't give up. Stay plugged into the network and don't give up. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. It's going to happen for you too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say just again, put to practice what it is that you're learning. Take action, take massive action. Like MFM teaches massive action. Yeah, leave it with that.
Well, beautifully said, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you guys just a little bit more today. I appreciate you guys just answering all of our questions. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of students that are going to be reaching out to you guys. So definitely keep an eye out on your Facebook DMs, your LinkedIn, everything like that. Definitely people are going to be reaching out. But for all the viewers out there today, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share with others who would find value in Brad and Julian's story. And don't forget to check out the resources at the Multifamily Mindset to start or grow your real estate investing journey. Thank you, guys. Have a great one.
Multifamily Mindset Podcast. Think big.